You're tired.
I know.
Maybe your body has been asking for rest for a long time,
But your mind is still moving.
maybe the room is quiet.
The lights are low. And yet, inside you, there is still a kind of noise.
Thoughts keep returning.
Memories rise without being invited.
Small worries become larger in the dark.
The things you carried through the day seem to sit beside you now, asking to be solved before you sleep. But you do not have to solve the whole night. You do not have to become calm before God draws near. You do not have to hold yourself together perfectly before you are allowed to rest. Tonight, Psalm 23 is not a test of how peaceful you can become. It is not a demand that you feel brave, strong, or spiritually impressive. It is a place to be held. It is a quiet pasture for the part of you that has been standing inwardly, even while your body is lying down. Rest does not begin because you finally learn how to keep watch over everything. Rest begins because the shepherd is already keeping watch over you. So for these next minutes, let that be enough. You may still feel tired. You may still feel unfinished. You may still have questions that do not answer themselves just because night has come. But you are not alone in this room. You are not alone in this hour. The Lord is not waiting at a distance for you to become less weary before he comes close. He is shepherd.
And shepherds draw near to the tired,
The wandering, the frightened, and the small.
Psalm 23 begins with words so familiar that sometimes we forget how tender they are.
The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want.
Not a stranger, not a distant voice shouting from a hilltop, not a hard master counting only your failures.
The Lord is my shepherd.
The one who sees the whole field,
The one who knows where the water is.
the one who notices when one sheep has fallen behind, the one who does not confuse exhaustion with rebellion, the one who understands that sometimes the soul is not trying to run away. Sometimes it is simply too tired to find the way home by itself. So take a slow breath, if you can, not as a task, not as something you must do correctly, just as a small opening. The night is here, and God is here in the night. You may imagine, gently, the room around you growing softer, the edges of the day loosening their grip, the lists, the words, the unfinished conversations, the quiet ache behind your ribs. All of it is still known, but no longer needing to be held so tightly by you. And as the room softens, let Psalm 23 open like a path under evening light. Not quickly, not with pressure, just slowly, like a door opening into a quieter country. There is a hillside. The day has begun to cool. The heat that rested on the stones is fading into the first blue of evening. Low grass moves in a mild wind. Far off, the land rolls gently, ridge after ridge, until the last gold of the sky gathers along the horizon. A few sheep are still moving, nosing at the ground, lingering where the pasture is soft. Others have already settled, folding their legs beneath them, their bodies close to the earth. And there, not far from them, is the shepherd. He is not hurried. He does not seem troubled by the slow pace of tired creatures. He has walked with them through the day. He has known the climbs, the dust, the thirst, the heat, the small stubborn turnings, the places where one or another drifted too near the rough edge of the path. Nothing about their weakness surprises him. Nothing about their need causes him to withdraw. He stands in the quiet of the field and watches. One by one, he sees them. One by one, he knows where they are. The smallest ones, the restless ones, the ones that wandered earlier and have come back dusty, the ones lying down easily, the ones still standing because their bodies have not yet learned that the day is finished. And perhaps that is where your heart can enter the psalm tonight, not as someone who has mastered rest, not as someone who has no fear, no questions, no unfinished ache, but as one of the sheep near the shepherd at evening, known, counted, noticed, kept. The Lord is my shepherd. There is such gentleness in that beginning, because it does not start with what the sheep can do. It starts with who the Lord is. The sheep do not make themselves safe by understanding the whole land. They do not create pasture by effort. They do not discover still water by anxious planning. They do not defeat every danger by staying awake all night. Their hope is not in their own ability to keep watch. Their hope is in the shepherd who remains with them. And the Lord is your shepherd, even here, even now, even when your thoughts are scattered, even when your prayers feel small, even when you are too weary to explain yourself clearly, even when all you can offer is a tired silence and a little willingness to be near him. He is not confused by silence. A shepherd knows the sound of breathing. He knows the weight of a tired body. He knows the difference between defiance and depletion. He knows when a creature needs correction. And he knows when a creature simply needs to be gathered close and led into rest. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. Those words do not mean that every desire disappears. They do not mean life has been easy. They do not mean there are no bills, no griefs, no uncertainties, no memories, no relationships that ache, no tomorrow waiting with its own demands. The psalm is deeper than that. It is not denying the valley. It will speak of the valley soon enough. But before the valley is named, the shepherd is named. Before the shadow is mentioned, belonging is declared. Before the table is prepared, before the cup overflows, before goodness and mercy follow, the soul is invited to begin with this: I am not unattended. I am not abandoned to my own keeping. The Lord himself has taken the place of shepherd over my life. On the hillside, the shepherd begins to move among the flock. The sound is quiet. Sandals over dry ground. The soft brush of his garment against grass. The low murmur of his voice. A staff touching stone, not sharply, but steadily. The sheep know that sound. They may not understand every direction, but they know the voice. They know the presence that has led them before. One sheep lifts its head, another turns. A lamb steps closer to its mother. The flock gathers by small degrees, not with panic, but with recognition. This is how care often comes. Not always as a sudden feeling, not always as instant relief. Sometimes care comes as a familiar voice in the evening, calling the scattered places of the heart back toward one's center. Come closer. You do not have to keep wandering through every thought. You do not have to graze among worries until morning. You do not have to stand at the edge of the field, watching the darkness as if everything depends on your vigilance. The shepherd is here, and because he is here, the night does not belong to fear. The shepherd's eyes pass over the flock, and he notices what another might miss. He sees the sheep that is limping slightly after a long path over stone. He sees the one that keeps looking back toward the open land, still restless from the day. He sees the lamb that has pressed itself close because the evening wind feels unfamiliar. He sees the older sheep that knows his voice well enough to settle quickly. He sees them all, not as a blur, but as his own. To be shepherded is to be personally known. This matters when you are tired. Exhaustion can make you feel like you have disappeared inside your own life. You may have done what needed doing. You may have answered messages, made decisions, carried responsibilities, smiled when you were not fully okay, kept showing up because people needed you to. And by night, it can feel as if no one truly saw the cost. But the shepherd saw. He saw the moment you swallowed tears. He saw the moment you kept going, because there seemed to be no other choice. He saw the worry beneath your ordinary words. He saw the kindness you gave when your own heart felt empty. He saw the loneliness you did not know how to name. He saw what you carried and what carrying it did to you. You may have felt unseen by people. You were not unseen by him. The hillside grows quieter. The last birds pass over the field and disappear toward the darker line of trees. The air cools. The sheep begin to settle more fully now because the shepherd is not leaving them exposed. His presence changes the meaning of the open field. What might have felt wide and uncertain becomes a place of care because he is there. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. There is a kind of want that sits deeper than ordinary need. The want to know that someone is watching. The want to be guided without having to understand every step. The want to be provided for when your own strength runs low. The want to stop performing and still be loved. The want to be safe enough to rest. Psalm 23 does not begin by telling you to become your own shepherd. It does not say, "The Lord gives you instructions so you can take over the night by yourself." It says, "The Lord is my shepherd." He remains active. He He remains attentive. He remains near. The sheep do not have to become shepherds before they sleep, and you do not have to become your own savior before you rest. There is room here to let go of what was never meant to be held by human hands through the night. Not because your responsibilities are meaningless, not because your pain is small, but because you are a creature, beloved by God, and creatures are made to receive care. The shepherd kneels near one of the sheep. There is dust in its wool. A small burr clings near its side. He removes it with practiced gentleness. No speech is needed, only nearness, only attention. The sheep stands still because it knows the touch that helps. A moment later, it lowers its head again, calmer than before. So much of the shepherd's work is like that. Quiet removal. A small burden lifted. A hidden thorn noticed. A place of irritation touched with patience. Sometimes you may come into prayer thinking you must bring God a better version of yourself, a calmer mind, a more grateful heart, stronger faith, better words. But Psalm 23 lets you come as a sheep at the end of the day, dusty, needy, perhaps tangled in things you did not mean to carry. And the shepherd does not despise the dust. He draws near enough to help. This is the beginning of rest. Not perfect sleep yet, not every feeling resolved, but the first soft turning of the soul away from self-keeping and toward being kept. The hillside settles further into evening. The shepherd stands again, his hand resting on the staff. He looks toward the place where the flock will lie down. The land there is not harsh. The grass is greener, gathered in a gentle hollow where the earth holds the coolness of the day. It is not a place the sheep found by accident. It is a place he knows. And now the psalm moves there. He makes me lie down in green pastures. Before we enter that pasture, let the breath slow for a moment. The flock is near the shepherd. The field is no longer something to search. The day is no longer something to survive. The evening is no longer empty space. It is held beneath his watch. Let your own body be as it is, heavy, tired, restless, sore, alert, numb. Whatever is true, you do not have to force it into peace. Imagine only this, a quiet hillside, softening under evening light, the shepherd nearby, the sheep beginning to settle, nothing rushed. Nothing demanded. The whole field held in a patient care. Breathe gently. The shepherd remains. And now, with the same unhurried care, he leads into pasture. He makes me lie down in green pastures. Those words are tender because they understand something about tiredness. Sometimes the weary do not know how to stop. Sometimes the exhausted body lies down. But the inner life keeps standing. The mind keeps scanning. The heart keeps bracing. The soul keeps saying, "Not yet. I still have to figure this out. I still have to prepare. I still have to guard the edges." But the shepherd knows how to lead a tired creature into a place where lying down becomes possible. He does not drive the flock harshly into rest. He does not shame them for needing it. He does not say, "Why are you not already calm?" He leads. He prepares. He brings them to pasture green enough, quiet enough, safe enough for their nervous bodies to lower themselves to the earth. The grass in this place is not sparse or sharp. It is soft and living. It has known water. It has risen from soil cared for by God. The sheep do not need to scrape at the ground in desperation. They do not need to push through bramble or climb another hard ridge to find a mouthful. Provision is under them, around them, near enough to receive. There is a grace in being made to lie down when you do not know how. Not forced down by heaviness, not crushed by life, but gently brought into the care that gives rest a place to begin. The shepherd walks through the pasture first. He knows the ground. He has watched for the places where stones might press against a folded leg, where insects might trouble the flock, where the wind might be too sharp. He does not lead them into rest without attention. He prepares the conditions of peace. Then one sheep lowers itself, then another. A lamb turns in a small circle and folds into the grass. An older sheep exhales with the deep relief of a body no longer standing. The flock becomes a quiet cluster of wool and breath under the fading sky. This is not laziness. This is trust. A sheep lying down in open country
is making a confession with its whole body. I am not keeping watch over myself right now. Another is near. Another sees. Another will rise if danger comes. Another knows the way when morning returns. And for the overworked heart, that may be one of the hardest confessions to make. Maybe you have spent so much of your life staying alert that rest feels unfamiliar. Maybe you learn to anticipate disappointment. Maybe you learn to keep track of people's moods, to prepare for what might go wrong, to answer every need before anyone asked, to feel responsible for outcomes that were never fully yours to control. Maybe stillness does not immediately feel peaceful. Maybe stillness is where the thoughts catch up. The shepherd knows this too. He does not stand over you, demanding instant serenity. He leads you slowly into green pasture. He lets the body learn, little by little, that it can lower its guard in his presence. He makes me lie down. There are times when that phrase may feel almost too merciful. God knows that some of his children will not simply choose rest easily, so he brings them to places, seasons, verses, prayers, and nights where the soul is invited again and again to stop striving, not because the work of life does not matter, but because the child of God is not meant to be consumed by endless inward labor. Green pastures are not earned by the sheep. They are found by following the shepherd. As the sheep settle, the wind moves softly over the grass. It bends and rises. Bends and rises, like breath. The colors of the hillside change. What was gold becomes muted green and blue. The sky gathers itself into evening. No creature in the flock is asked to explain why it is tired. No lamb is told to justify its need to lie down. The shepherd sees the day they have walked. He knows the distance. He knows the heat. He knows the weakness that comes honestly to small bodies under a wide sky. And the Lord knows the day you have walked. He knows the visible parts and the hidden parts. He knows the things that were easy for others, but costly for you. He knows the words that stayed with you. He knows the tasks you finished and the ones still waiting. He knows the prayers you did not have energy to form. He knows how much effort it took simply to arrive here at night, with your heart still open enough to listen. So let the pasture be received, not as a picture far away, but as a gift brought near by Scripture. The Lord is not only the shepherd of people who are already restful. He is the shepherd of the tense shoulders, the tired eyes, the mind that keeps circling, the heart that fears disappointing everyone, the soul that longs to be still but does not know how. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. The scene begins to move again, but not quickly. Morning has not come. There is still evening softness over the land. The shepherd knows that rest is not only about lying down. The flock also needs water. Not rushing water that frightens them, not a torrent where small feet might slip, not a dangerous current that asks more of them than they can give. Still waters. The path to the water is gentle. The grass thins near the bank. Reeds stand quiet in the dusk. The surface holds the last light of the sky. There is no roar, no demand, no urgency. Only a calm place where thirst can be met. Sheep can be timid around moving water. A rushing stream may be too loud, too uncertain, too unsafe. The shepherd understands this. He leads them where the water is quiet enough to drink from. He does not mock their fear. He does not say, "This should not trouble you." He provides water suited to their need. What kindness! The Lord knows how to bring water to the anxious heart in a form it can receive. Sometimes comfort does not come as a thunderous answer. Sometimes it comes as still water, a verse remembered simply, a breath that deepens a little, a sense that you are not as alone as you felt 10 minutes ago. The presence of God, not overwhelming, not forceful, but quiet enough for a weary soul to approach. He leads me beside still waters. Notice again, he leads. The sheep do not have to locate the water by fear. They do not have to panic across the hills until they stumble upon relief. The shepherd knows the source. He knows when the flock is thirsty. He knows the difference between what looks impressive and what will actually restore them. Your soul may be thirsty tonight in ways you have barely had time to notice.
Thirsty for gentleness, thirsty for quiet, thirsty for assurance that you have not been forgotten,
Thirsty for a voice that does not demand more than you can give.
thirsty for God to be near,
Without requiring you to explain every ache. Psalm 23 does not rush past that thirst. It brings you to water. In the quiet of the scene, the shepherd pauses near the bank. The flock gathers, one by one. A sheep lowers its head. The water trembles slightly, then settles again. Another steps near, and another. The reeds barely move. The sky is reflected in the stillness, a deepening blue with a fading line of gold. There are no speeches here, only provision, only the shepherd bringing the weary to what they need. And perhaps, as you listened, there is a part of you that can stop searching for a moment. Not forever, not in some dramatic way, just for now. The Lord knows where the water is. The Lord knows how to restore what the day has drained. He restores my soul. That line comes after pasture and water, because restoration often happens through care that is simple, repeated, and embodied. The sheep are not restored by being scolded into strength. They are restored by being shepherded. Rest, food, water, nearness, protection, guidance. These are not small things. They are the ordinary mercies by which life returns. A soul can become tired in layers. There is physical tiredness, the heaviness behind the eyes, the ache of muscles, the dullness that comes after too much doing. There is emotional tiredness, the feeling of having responded to too many needs, carried too many feelings, absorbed too much tension. There is mental tiredness, when decisions multiply and thoughts refuse to settle. And there is spiritual tiredness, when even hope feels like work, when prayer feels thin, when you know the right words, but cannot quite feel their strength. The shepherd restores the soul beneath all of this, not by demanding that it hurry back to brightness, not by pretending that weariness is not real. He restores by presence, by leading, by feeding, by bringing the heart to still water again and again, until the inner life remembers that it is allowed to receive. The sheep drink. The water is cool. The shepherd waits. He is not impatient. He does not measure the worth of the flock by how quickly they recover. He does not drag them away after one sip. He lets thirst be answered. This too is part of God's tenderness. He is patient with the pace of restoration. Maybe you want to feel better, faster. Maybe you wish your anxious thoughts would simply disappear. Maybe you are frustrated that the same worries return at night. Maybe you think, I should be stronger by now. I should trust better by now. I should not need so much reassurance. But a shepherd does not begrudge water to thirsty sheep. He does not say, you drank yesterday. He does not say, why are you thirsty again? He leads them again. He provides again. He remains again. The shepherd remains. There is no shame in needing him tonight. The still water holds the sky. A faint breeze moves over the surface, but the water does not break into chaos. The sheep drink in the hush. Somewhere beyond the pasture, the day's heat releases from the rocks. The world grows quieter, as if creation itself is lowering its voice. And in that lowering, the soul learns something different from striving. The soul learns that it is not kept alive by constant tension. The soul learns that God can be trusted while it rests. The soul learns that being cared for is not failure. This is the movement of Psalm 23, not a command to manufacture peace, but an invitation to follow the shepherd into the conditions of peace. Green pasture underfoot, still water nearby, the shepherd close enough to see, close enough to guide, close enough to protect. The night may still contain unanswered questions, but Psalm 23 does not require every question to be answered before rest can begin. It offers something deeper than explanation. It offers nearness. He restores my soul. Let those words become quiet, not something to analyze, something to receive. He restores my soul. The part of you that has been scattered can be gathered. The part of you that has been dry can be brought to water. The part of you that has been bracing can learn, slowly, that the shepherd is not harsh with weakness. As the flock remains near the water, the shepherd looks toward the path ahead. The night will come fully.
There will be movement again.
But for now, the scene is simple.
Grass, water, breath, presence.
Let this be a rest reset for your own heart. Imagine the still water close by,
Not rushing,
not demanding, holding the reflection of the evening sky. Imagine the shepherd's voice, low and steady. Imagine the flock drinking and settling, no creature needing to defend its thirst. You are allowed to be tired. You are allowed to receive care. You are allowed to stop proving that you are strong enough for everything. The shepherd remains. He restores your soul. And when the time comes to move, he does not send the flock ahead alone. He leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. The path begins where the water leaves off. It is not wide at first. It curves between patches of grass and stone, rising gently from the hollow. The shepherd steps forward, and the flock follows, because this is what sheep do when they know the voice that has brought them safely through the day. They do not understand the whole map. They do not need to. The shepherd knows the path. There are many ways across a hillside, and not all of them are safe. Some paths look shorter, but lead over loose rock. Some turn into dry gullies where footing is uncertain. Some pass too close to places where the flock could scatter. The sheep cannot judge all of this from where they stand. Their vision is low to the ground. Their instincts are limited. Their safety depends on following. So the shepherd goes before them. The sound of his steps becomes a kind of guidance. Sandals on dust, staff against stone. A soft call when the flock needs to turn. The sheep move in a slow line, bodies brushing against one another, hooves finding the ground where others have stepped. This is a different kind of comfort from pasture. Pasture says, rest. Still water says, receive. The path says, trust. And trust can be difficult at night. At night, the mind often wants the whole map. It wants to know what will happen tomorrow, what someone meant by their words, how a situation will resolve, whether a fear will become real, whether a loss will heal, whether strength will come when it is needed. The mind reaches ahead, trying to light every turn. It reviews, predicts, rehearses, prepares. But the shepherd does not place the whole landscape into the sheep's understanding. He gives them his presence and the next faithful step. He leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. A right path is not always the easiest looking path. It is the path chosen by the shepherd's wisdom. It is the way that keeps the flock within care, the way that aligns with his goodness, the way that carries his name, because he has committed himself to his own. For his namesake means his guidance is rooted in who he is. He is not careless with his sheep, because his own character is involved in their keeping. His faithfulness is not fragile. His mercy is not temporary. His attention is not easily exhausted. He leads because he is shepherd. He leads because he is good. He leads because his name is bound to his care. The flock moves slowly upward. The water is behind them now, but not forgotten. The strength received there becomes strength for the path. The pasture is behind them too, but its quiet has entered their bodies. Each step is modest. No one sheep is asked to understand the entire journey. The shepherd watches the pace, especially of the weakest. A lamb stumbles slightly over a stone. The shepherd pauses. The line slows. The lamb regains its footing and presses on. This is not a failure of the journey. It is part of being led. You may stumble in trust. You may have moments when anxiety rises again, when old fears return, when you feel less peaceful than you hoped. This does not mean the shepherd has stopped leading you. It does not mean you have ruined the night. It means you are human. It means you are a sheep on the path, and the shepherd is patient with your steps. The path of righteousness is not walked by perfect creatures. It is walked by those who are led. There is comfort in that. The shepherd's staff is visible in the dimming light. It is not merely a symbol. It is useful, present, ready. It can steady. It can guide. It can block a wrong turn. It can draw a wandering sheep back from the edge. The sheep do not resent the staff when they know the shepherd's heart. His guidance is not against them. It is for their life. Sometimes God's leading may feel like a slowing, a closed door, a wait, a gentle conviction, a change in direction, a reminder to forgive, a call to release control, a quiet pull back
from something that would drain the soul. Not every guidance feels immediately easy, but the shepherd's path is not chosen to harm the sheep. It is chosen because he sees more than they see. The flock reaches a narrow place where the path bends between stones warmed earlier by the sun. The air is cooler here. The sky above has deepened. The first stars begin to appear. One by one, they come softly, without sound, small lamps in the high darkness. The sheep move close together. The shepherd does not abandon them to the narrowing way. He leads in front, but he is attentive to all. His voice carries back. His presence steadies the movement. The flock does not need to rush. The path is known. For the overthinking heart, this is a mercy. The path is known to God, even when it is not known to you. Tomorrow may still feel unclear. There may be decisions ahead, conversations, responsibilities, things you hope for, and things you fear. But tonight, Psalm 23 does not ask you to live tomorrow in advance. It invites you to return to the shepherd who leads. The sheep are not helped by trying to imagine every possible turn before dawn. They are helped by staying near. He leads me. Those words are simple enough for a tired mind. He leads me. Not, I must control all things. Not, I must understand all outcomes. Not, I must stay awake until I feel certain. He leads me. And if he leads, then you may sleep without holding the map in your hands. The shepherd turns at a place where the path divides. To the left, the ground seems open for a moment, but falls unevenly beyond the ridge. To the right, the way is narrower, but safe. The sheep do not know this. They simply follow the shepherd's turn. There are moments in life when God's guidance may look like an ordinary turn, a quiet nudge, a verse that stays with you, wise counsel, a boundary, a delay, a peace that does not erase difficulty, but settles deeper than fear. Often the shepherd's leading is not spectacular. It is steady. It is faithful. It is near. The flock follows. Dust rises in small clouds beneath their feet and settles again. Their bodies form a moving shape along the path, gathered by the shepherd's pace. None of them carry a lantern. None of them study the stars. None of them have to prove themselves worthy of the way. They are led because they belong. And you belong to the shepherd. Not because tonight you feel perfectly faithful. Not because your thoughts are orderly. Not because your heart has no fear. You belong because the Lord has set his care upon his own. Because the shepherd knows his sheep. Because his goodness is not dependent on the strength of your grip, but on the faithfulness of his. The path continues. And gently the psalm teaches the soul to move from self-direction into trust. It does not shame your need to know. It simply offers a better place to rest that need in the one who knows. He restores my soul. He leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Restoration and guidance are joined. The shepherd restores, then leads. Leads, then restores. He knows that a restored soul still needs direction, and a guided soul will need restoration again. His care is not a single moment. It is a way of life under his keeping. The flock comes to a wider place where the path levels out. The air opens. The sheep pause naturally, not because the journey is over, but because the shepherd gives them a moment. He looks back over them. No one is missing. No one is beyond his sight. Let this become another rest reset. The path does not have to be solved tonight. The next step belongs to the shepherd's care. Imagine the quiet footsteps on dust. Imagine the flock moving together under a deepening sky. Imagine the shepherd ahead, not far, not hurried, not uncertain. You do not have to see the whole way in order to be led. You do not have to think through every possibility before sleep. The shepherd remains. He knows the path. And now the psalm. Having given pasture, water, and guidance, does not avoid the darker place. It tells the truth gently. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. The path descends, not suddenly, not with terror, just slowly. As the land shifts and the light becomes less open, the hills rise closer on either side. The air cools. Shadows gather in the lower places. The sheep move more quietly now. their bodies closer together. The shepherd's voice becomes more important in the dimness. Psalm 23 is honest enough to include the valley. It does not say the shepherd's care means there will never be shadow. It does not pretend that life with God is only pasture and still water. It speaks of a valley where sight is limited, where the atmosphere changes, where fear could rise. But even here, the central truth does not change. The shepherd remains. There's a tenderness in the psalm's wording. Earlier, it said, "He makes me lie down. He leads me. He restores my soul." But in the valley, the words become more direct. You are with me. The darkness makes the relationship feel nearer, not because God was absent before, but because in the valley, the heart needs to speak to him more personally. It is no longer only he. It is you. You are with me. This matters for the listener lying awake at night. There are shadows that seem to grow after dark. Fears that were manageable in daylight may feel nearer when the world is quiet. Grief may speak more loudly. Loneliness may feel heavier. The uncertainty you pushed aside during the day may come and sit at the edge of the bed. And sometimes you may not even know what you are afraid of. You only know your body is braced, your chest is tight, and your thoughts keep circling. Psalm 23 does not scold the sheep for walking through a valley. It gives them the shepherd's presence there. The valley in the scene is narrow, but not endless. The shepherd knows it. He has brought flocks through before. He knows where the rocks shift, where the path dips, or the walls cast shade even before evening fully settles. He does not ask the sheep to pretend it is as bright as the pasture. He simply stays close. One sheep hesitates near a darker turn. The shepherd's voice comes low and steady. The sheep moves again. Another brushes against the side of the path, startled by a small sound among stones. The shepherd shifts his staff, and the flock gathers tighter. No panic is needed. The danger is not ignored, but it is not given the center. The shepherd's nearness is the center. I will fear no evil, for you are with me. This is not bravado. This is not a loud declaration made by someone who has never trembled. It is the quiet courage of a sheep who knows the shepherd is in the valley too. The psalm does not say, I will fear no evil because I am strong enough. It does not say, I will fear no evil because the valley is imaginary. It says, for you are with me. God's presence is the answer beneath every other answer. Sometimes what you need most at night is not a full explanation. It is not a complete plan. It is not a guarantee that every detail will unfold exactly as you hope. Sometimes what your tired soul needs most is the quiet assurance that God is with you in the place where you cannot see far ahead. You are with me. Let the words be small enough to hold. You are with me in this room, in this hour, in this tired body, in this mind that has worked too long, in this grief, this uncertainty, this ache, this waiting. You are with me. The sheep move deeper into the valley. The walls of the land rise on either side, but above them there is still sky. A narrow band of deepening blue remains overhead. The first stars are clearer now. The path is dim, but it has not disappeared. The shepherd's form is visible enough. His staff catches a little light. His voice guides the flock through places where their own sight would fail. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. The rod and staff are not abstract ideas in the valley. They are the shepherd's tools of care. They mean he is not merely present as a witness. He is present as protector and guide. He has what is needed for the dark place. He can defend. He can direct. He can draw near. He can reach what the sheep cannot reach. Comfort. In Psalm 23, comfort means the shepherd has not come empty-handed into the valley. His presence is active. His care has shape. His protection is not imaginary. His guidance is not vague. The staff touches the ground. The sound is steady. Tap. Step. Breath. Tap. Step. Breathe. The flock follows that rhythm, and the rhythm itself becomes calming. They do not need to run. They do not need to scatter. The shepherd is not startled by the shadows. There are valleys in memory, valleys in uncertainty, valleys in illness, disappointment, loss, strained relationships, quiet depression, long waiting, aging, regret. fear for someone you love.
There are valleys that others see,
And valleys almost no one knows you are walking through.
but Psalm 23 speaks into all of them with the same steady truth. You are with me.
The Lord does not only meet his people after they have emerged into brighter places, he is with them while they walk through.
Through is an important word. Even though I walk through the valley is real.
But it is not named as home. It is a passage under the shepherd's care. The sheep may move slowly.
They may tremble. They may stay close because the shadows are deep,
But they are still being led through.
Tonight, you do not have to know how long every valley lasts. You do not have to measure your progress perfectly. You do not have to feel fearless in order for God to be near.
The shepherd is not waiting for you at the far end only. He is with you in the middle. The flock reaches a place where the path narrows further. The sheep press close.
The shepherd turns slightly, placing himself where his presence can steady them. His staff extends, guiding them away from a rough edge. One by one, they pass. No dramatic moment, no loud rescue, just faithful guidance in a place where guidance matters. Often, this is how the shepherd carries his people through the night, not always by removing every shadow instantly, but by giving enough nearness for the next few steps,
Enough steadiness to keep from turning aside.
enough comfort to remember that fear does not have the final word. I will fear no evil, for you are with me.
The words are not a command to feel nothing.
They are an invitation to let his presence become larger than fear. Fear may be present, but it is not alone with you. Anxiety may speak,
But it is not the only voice in the valley.
grief may walk beside you, but the shepherd walks nearer still. The path begins to rise, slowly, almost imperceptibly. The walls of the valley lower. The air changes. The flock senses the opening before they fully see it. The shepherd continues at the same steady pace. He did not rush them into the valley, and he does not rush them out. His care is consistent. The sheep emerge into a wider place under the night sky. There is still darkness, but it is no longer close in the same way. The stars are broad above them. The flock gathers near the shepherd, quieter than before. Something has changed. They have passed through shadow and found that the shepherd was present there too. The psalm does not leave them in the valley. It moves toward welcome. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. The image changes, but the care remains. From field to table, from path to hospitality, from being guided through danger to being received with honor. Imagine the scene softening again. The valley is behind. The night is open. Ahead, there is lamplight, a dwelling place, or a sheltered space. A table has been prepared. The light is warm against the dark. There is bread. There is a cup. There is oil. There is the quiet dignity of being expected and welcomed. The shepherd's care is not only survival, it is welcome. He does not merely get the sheep through the valley and then leave them trembling at the edge. He prepares a table. He gives a place. He tends. He honors. He provides in the very presence of pressures that once threatened peace. In the psalm, enemies are present, but they are not central. The table is central. The host is central. The care of God is central. This is important for a tired heart, for a listener who may have felt surrounded by burdens. We will not stare long at the enemies tonight. We will name them softly and let them remain at the edges. Fear, accusation, regret, tomorrow's demands, old wounds, the inner voice that says you are not enough, the pressure to keep proving yourself, the memories that return uninvited. They may be near, but they do not own the table. The shepherd prepares the table. He decides the center. He sets the place. The room, or shelter, is quiet. The lamp flame moves gently, sending warm light across wood and clay. Outside, the night remains, but inside, there is provision. The air carries the simple comfort of bread, oil, and stillness. A cup catches the light. The table is not hurried. It is not an afterthought. It has been prepared. Prepared means intentional. God's care is not accidental. He is not improvising tenderness at the last moment. He knows what his child needs. He knows how to set a place of mercy in the middle of a life that still has pressures around it. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies.
It is one thing to eat when there are no threats anywhere. It is another to be given peace while the pressures have not fully vanished. Psalm 23 offers that deeper peace. A table where fear does not get to decide whether you are nourished. A table where accusation does not get to take the seat of honor. A table where the shepherd's provision speaks louder than the surrounding noise. Maybe not everything in your life feels resolved tonight. Maybe some difficulties are still present. Some relationships still complicated. Some griefs still real. Some needs still unanswered. Some fears still hovering near the edge of thought. But the Lord can prepare a table even there. He can give nourishment in an unfinished season. He can give dignity when you feel worn down. He can give peace that does not depend on every enemy being removed first. The host comes near with oil. You anoint my head with oil. This is a tender image. Oil in Scripture can speak of consecration, healing, welcome, honor, and care. Here in the hush of Psalm 23, it feels deeply personal. After the valley, after the path, after the long day, the Lord does not simply say, "You made it." He tends the head. He refreshes. He marks the weary one with dignity. Imagine the oil poured slowly, not rushed, not wasteful in a careless way, but generous. It touches the head and moves with warmth. It soothes what has been exposed to heat, dust, strain, and fear. It is care applied directly, personally. The shepherd knows that the tired do not only need instruction, they need tenderness. You may need that tonight more than you realize. Not a loud answer, not a complex explanation. Tenderness. The tenderness of God toward the weary, the care of the shepherd for the places most exposed, the gentle honor of being welcomed when you arrive tired, not polished. You anoint my head with oil. The table is prepared. The oil is poured. The cup is filled. My cup overflows. The cup does not barely hold enough. It overflows. In a life where you may often feel depleted, measured, stretched thin, or emotionally spent, this image comes with quiet abundance. The shepherd's care is not as narrow as your energy. It is not limited by your capacity. It is not reduced to the amount of peace you can produce within yourself. My cup overflows, not because the sheep earned overflow, because the host is generous. The cup catches lamplight. It is filled beyond the line of sufficiency. A little spills over, shining briefly before it falls. The image is not loud, but it is lavish. God's care exceeds mere survival. There is enough mercy for tonight, enough presence for the dark, enough patience for your slow restoration, enough wisdom for the path you cannot see, enough kindness for the places in you that feel empty, enough shepherd for the whole flock, and enough shepherd for you. The room grows still around the table. The enemies, whatever they are, do not get the final word. The valley does not get the final word. The exhaustion does not get the final word. The shepherd's prepared welcome speaks quietly and steadily. You are mine. Sit. Receive. Let me care for you. The sheep that once walked the valley are now under a different image, a more intimate one. The psalm has carried us from need to nourishment, from fear to fellowship, from exposure to welcome. This is the shepherd's heart. He leads, protects, restores, and receives. Let this become another rest reset, a table in lamplight, a cup filled, oil poured gently, the night outside, but peace within. Do not try to hold every burden at the table. The host is here. The shepherd remains. His care is not thin. His mercy is not hurried. His welcome is not reluctant. Breathe softly. You are not standing outside the care of God. You are brought near. The psalm now begins to narrow toward its ending, not with a long argument, but with a sure hope. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. Surely. There is steadiness in that word, not maybe. Not only if the sheep understand everything, not only if the path is easy. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me. The image is beautiful because the tired soul often feels followed by other things. Regret, fear, old conversations, tasks undone, shame, what ifs. The sense of not having done enough.
The mind looks over its shoulder and sees burdens trailing behind. But Psalm 23 gives another vision. Goodness and mercy follow. The shepherd's care is not only ahead, guiding, it is also behind, pursuing. God's covenant kindness does not merely wait at a distance for you to catch up. It follows. It comes after you. It covers the trail. It gathers what you cannot repair. It meets the parts of the journey you no longer have strength to revisit. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. All the days. Not only the strong days, not only the clear-minded days, not only the days when prayer feels easy. All the days. Days of pasture, days of valley, days of still water, days of uncertainty. Days when you feel close to God, days when you feel dull and tired and unable to say much. The shepherd's goodness does not become absent because your awareness of it becomes faint. His mercy does not stop following because you are weary. The scene begins to return, gently, from the table and the hillside toward your own room. The lamplight of the psalm becomes the soft light around you. The quiet pasture becomes the quiet of the night where you are. The still water becomes the slowing of your breath. The shepherd's voice becomes the truth held in Scripture, near enough for a tired heart. And I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. The psalm ends in home, after the field, the path, the valley, the table. The following, goodness and mercy. There is dwelling, not wandering forever, not striving forever, not standing guard forever. Dwelling. To dwell is to remain, to be received, to have a place, to stop being a stranger. The Lord who shepherds also welcomes home. For tonight, you do not have to grasp the full forever. You can rest in the beginning of it. The house of the Lord is not only a distant hope, it is the truth that your life is held by God, that His presence is your deepest home, that you are not left outside in the night. The shepherd remains. That is the dominant truth for this final descent. The shepherd remains when your thoughts grow quiet. The shepherd remains if you wake in the night. The shepherd remains when tomorrow comes. The shepherd remains when your strength feels small. The shepherd remains because He is faithful. Let the psalm become simple now. The Lord is my shepherd. He makes me lie down. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in right paths. He is with me in the valley. His rod and staff comfort me. He prepares a table. He anoints with oil. My cup overflows. Goodness and mercy follow. I shall dwell in His house. And beneath every line, the same quiet truth. The shepherd remains. Let us pray. Lord, gentle shepherd, draw near to the one listening tonight. You know their tired body, their busy mind, their quiet fears, and the burdens they have carried through this day. Lead them now beside still waters. Restore what has been worn thin. Let them feel no pressure to earn your care, but only to receive it. Be near in the dark. Comfort them with your presence. Let goodness and mercy follow them, even here, even now. And as they sleep, keep watch over them with unfailing love. Amen. Now let the night be simple. You do not have to finish every thought. You do not have to fix every feeling. You do not have to hold the door of your life shut against every fear. The shepherd remains. Let your body be held by the place where you are resting. Let your hands loosen. Let your jaw soften if it can. Let your breathing find its own quiet pace. Nothing has to be forced. Nothing has to be impressive. The Lord is your shepherd when you are awake. The Lord is your shepherd when you sleep. The same care that led through pasture, water, path, valley, and table is still near now. Not far away, not waiting for better words. Near. Goodness and mercy are not finished with you. The house of the Lord is not closed to you, and this night is not empty. The shepherd remains. So rest now beneath His keeping. Let the psalm grow quiet in you. Let the room grow quiet around you. Let the day pass from your hands into His. You are tired. He knows. You are loved. He remains. The shepherd remains.